So I'm continuing my series on women who inspire me in 2013. And even though we've kind of worked together throughout the years, this is like the first time I've really had a conversation with her. She released a new book. It is called Your Blueprint. Miss Elvira Guzman, welcome.
Thank you.
So
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. So for people who aren't aware of you, I mean, you are like a PR guru. I mean, you have taken some names that maybe weren't so big and turned them into bigger names. But I've dealt with you probably almost my entire radio career through the publicity thing, and now you're an author and you're helping people not only figure out their PR and their brand, but also inspiring them along the way. So tell me about your blueprint and why you decided to write it.
Well, the honest reason why I decided to write it was because I'm just tired of being treated badly. Working in this industry 12 years, and I started as an intern, people would, poke their noses up at me because I didn't have the background that they had, or I didn't have the rank that they had. And, the people that did treat me well, I remember I would just be like a little puppy, like, oh my gosh, I'll do anything for you because you just treated me nice. And so I remembered that. So when I started to advance in the business, I would treat, the receptionist or, the housekeeper, whoever is the same exact way that I would treat everybody else. And it worked for me. 12 years later, here I am. And, I started my company at 23 and, I've had a lot of successes. So I wanted to share that information with others so that others could be happy. And, I believe that hurt people hurt people. I don't want hurt people to hurt me anymore because it doesn't feel good.
And you do have a surprising story. It's like I said, we've worked together, but we really don't know each other. And I was really surprised by some of the struggles that you've had. Can you share some of the ones that have changed you or touched you?
Yeah, the one that impacted me the most was, when my parents went to jail when I was 14. That had such a profound impact. I was a freshman in high school, and if looking back now, those are the years that really shape you.
Right.
And when you go I went from having everything. I had, two parents who owned their business. They didn't make a lot of money, but, it was an honest living, and, we didn't want for anything. And there was somebody at home who would cook and clean to, my only job was to get straight A's. I went from doing that to having to be a babysitter for, 3 kids, and I had to be the housekeeper, and I had to, go to school and, play sports. And it was traumatic, but, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And from that, I learned, and I said, you know what, I realized that at that moment, you have to walk alone. And that's what that experience brought to me. And I wanted to share it with the world because I feel that so many people feel that, oh, my parents need to help me, or my husband needs to help me, or my mentor needs to help me. No, you need to help yourself. That's the major point.
So how do you suggest people get started? I mean, because you've represented a variety of people and helped them develop their brand and then bring it to the world.
Yeah.
So what do you say to people on how to get started with their brand? I mean, it seems like everybody now can be their own brand with social media and other platforms, outside of traditional media. So what do you say to people about developing their brand?
Very
What's
simple.
the blueprint?
Very simple. In my book, chapter 8 is "From Your Pain is Your Purpose." That's where you find it. For me, my pain was my parents going to jail and abandoning me. So my purpose is to share the message of you're supposed to walk alone. And once, I'm able to have success with this book, I want to develop centers where kids after school, if they don't have a place to go and their parents are in jail, that they could go and they don't have to be alone. There's mentors and therapists. So from my pain, I was able to realize my purpose. So what this book does is it reminds you of your pain. So that way, no matter whatever you want to do, you want to be an actor, a comedian, a business owner, you have to know what your purpose is in order for you to be successful. So that would be the very first step.
I know. I tell a lot of people. I mean, we get a lot of pitches around here. I mean, people have a lot of things to sell, and I think that all of them are important. But I think the ones that stand out to me are the ones who realize that it's more than selling a book, or it's more than selling a song, and it's more about who you are and what you have to offer to the world. So how important do you think it is when you talk to your clients and other people who are trying to get some exposure to be authentic and to be themselves, and like you said, figure out what your purpose is through your pain?
And I'm so excited about this question because I was just thinking about this yesterday. It's extremely important that we find our way, that we realize that we're here for more than just us. I tell my clients, if you're only doing this for money, it's going to all go away and more. But if you're doing this for the greater good of others, you're going to be so successful, you're not going to know what to do with all of the money.
I love that.
And that's the secret. That's the secret. And, like you, I used to be in your position. I used to be the executive producer of the Steve Harvey Morning Show. And I used to get tons and tons of pitches. And you know what's authentic, and you know what is, people are just doing it to make money. And I was never about just to make money. I was always, what's going to help everybody? And then that's what I would book, because then you're touching lives. And then that's what's going to bring you more viewers and bring more good karma. And so we know.
So what are some tried and true tips that you have for people on getting exposure, besides just being yourself and finding your purpose?
Hustling. People are lazy nowadays. I recommend that everybody live in New York for at least 1 year, like I did. I'm from California, born and raised, but I've lived in New York and I've lived in Atlanta. And I tell all of my mentees, if you really want to know business, go to New York for 1 year, because you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so slow. And then, but when you relocate back to your hometown, you're going to look at everybody else like, oh my gosh, you're not waking up at, 6 o'clock. Hello, this is East Coast time. Like, we need to get going. Like, we only have a certain amount of years, like good work years, that we could get in, because the rest of the time we're going to be, with the family and all that great stuff. Like, get on your hustle. And every single morning, if you're not waking up saying, okay, what am I doing today? What's my to-do list? Then you're not going to win.
That is so funny. It's like when I went to college on the East Coast, I was like so taken aback by all these New Yorkers that, like you said, they move at the speed of light.
Yes.
But it's like the people from New York that I went to college with are like the P. Diddy's who are now doing the thing. I mean, they're all like out there doing something. So that's an interesting take on it. I never really thought about it like that.
Exactly. When I first moved out there, I remember calling my mom, and I was like, Mom, I was like, people are so rude here. They're
yes.
like in the street. And then, like, I swear to God, 3 months in, I was like, get out of my way. Like, I'm late. Like, I need to get this taxi before you. Like, you become that. And then but I was never like the rude one. I was always like, excuse me, but I gotta go, So it was fun.
So what do you hope to accomplish with this book?
Universal love and unity, and to wake everybody up. I think that everyone's in a state of zombie land, and I think we're plagued by for instance, what's going on with Rihanna and Chris Brown and the Frank Ocean. Rather than, did you guys know that North Korea's might send a nuclear
we're their most hated enemy now?
And I'm just like, is that what you're thinking about? Like, I'm just like, wake up. I want to shake people awake. Like, pay attention to the things that truly matter. Stop listening to this garbage music, and stop letting that influence you and your children. One of the things that I plan to do, not just through this book, but through television and through music, I'm developing TV shows, because I don't like the state of music. I don't like the state of TV shows. This is just the beginning.
All right. So how can people get your book?
Oh, they can buy my book on elviraguzman.com for now, and I'm working on a deal with Barnes & Noble, so hopefully on $3.29 on Good Friday, it will be available in Barnes & Noble stores. Excellent,
excellent. And your website? You say that again for me?
Yes, elviraguzman.com. That's where you can purchase my book, and for PR, it's lvgpr.com.
All right. Thank you, Miss Elvira. I appreciate it, and best of luck. I'm glad that we had this little time together.
Thank you.
We'll talk soon. Elvira Guzman.